Another live edition of the Robin Lundberg Show, direct to you, straight to whatever software program or platform you are watching on right now. I don't have too much to get to topic wise. Well, I don't want to say that at the beginning of the show. That makes people tune away. I just meant there was not a specific topic that incentivized me to hop on today impromptu or schedule. I've been busy. I'm running around 1,000 miles an hour, which I'll share to you why in a second. But I do want to say what's up to Kevin, who's in the chat, and to AJ, who's in the chat, who says, I'm here, folks. Driving, won't be able to chime in much. But I'm shouting those guys out specifically because essentially we're about a year roughly into what this has become, this journey has become here. And for anybody who was at the beginning, I started with a topic du jour, and did basically what I had done for a long time, which is sports talk radio. And those guys, Kev and AJ and the rest of the crew, Ernesto and the original chat that we still have. I have a text chat with Kev and AJ, and we also have we had Mike an early wrestling show when I went to WrestleMania last year. I'm looking through the Facebook chat here. Timmy is the other one as he's listed. He's always got different names and monikers, so I forget. But more or less, we did when I went to WrestleMania last year with my son, we did a wrestling show, and there was a core group of audience that was in here. And it wasn't until the Caitlin Clark phenomenon took off and I started covering it, and I covered it in earnest because I'm a basketball fan and a hoops head, and she captured my imagination, and it was interesting. And then all of a sudden, this audience came in here, and we've built from there and continued to grow from there. And I covered the Fever season last year, and then expanded the coverage around women's basketball, launching Women's Fast Break on SI. In the process, having this channel be the way it is, and grow the way it has. So I wanted to share a little news in regards to that with you all at the top. I know everybody's always fired up whenever they see anything Indiana Fever related. They showed the Lexi Hull workout video just now. If any of you guys haven't seen that, the Fever tease some content. I'll pull it up for you because it's a good lead in for where I'm going here. But this was the video that was just shared. Well, you have Sydney Colson saying, I'm super geeked to be here. Thrilled. I think it's going to be so much fun. The fans are going to feel our energy and excitement in the way that we play. And then you had this video of Lexi Hull in the lab with cameos from Caitlin Clark and Brianna Turner. Lexi Hull is the power of what the Fever have become, right? Because no offense to Lexi, but she was nowhere near a household name, or even in her game a transcendent level kind of all-star level player. She was a role player for the Fever last year with her energy. She shot the ball really well in the second half of the season. I think she needs to work on finishing her layups and the like, but you see Brianna Turner there as well, who's been really, it seems, active behind the scenes. She was in the workout video with Kelsey Mitchell. And then, of course, there is Caitlin Clark, who is perhaps the biggest name in sports at the moment. Chenny Agumake called her the needle on ESPN, and I've talked about the national broadcasts and everything, but I've never seen anyone move the needle, which is why it's an appropriate nickname, like Caitlin Clark has. And I've been doing this 20 plus years. I mean, the closest in my time covering it is LeBron, who we'll get to in a bit. And before that, the phenomenon is Michael Jordan, who I would use. And that's the analogy I've used for Caitlin Clark is the Michael Jordan of the sport, right? Where I think people thought she was going to be the Tim Tebow or something like a flash in the pan, and it turned out she was the crossover superstar, and that's what Stephen A. brought up to Nafisa Collier to further tease, talking about Stephen A. and LeBron a little bit. So without further ado, I mean, it's nothing huge or earth-shattering, but it is continued growth in what I've been doing. Today, we launched Indiana Fever on SI. It is early in the process. I will continue to build on it. I want to hear suggestions. The link is in the description. Obviously, we're just getting it up off the ground right now. This is in partnership with Sports Illustrated on the Sports Illustrated network. But it is an Indiana Fever specific site. Women's Fast Break on SI continues, which covers all of women's basketball, the WNBA, NCAA, everything in between. And now more coverage specific to the Indiana Fever heading into the launch of the 2025 or the start of the 2025 season. Obviously, I want to continue to build. I need to staff up. If you have any writers, who have actual writing chops and experience, send them my way. Probably the best way to get in contact with me is a DM on X. I want to get a relationship with the actual team going to get, actual behind the scenes coverage. I plan to get to some games, obviously, as a member of the media, but that did go live today. So in addition to what I've been doing here, in addition to Women's Fast Break on SI, there is now an Indiana Fever on SI. So you Fever fans who are in here can go get that Fever specific content on a day-to-day basis. Obviously, it will be updated daily. I never stop. I've got to eventually get to a point where I can ever take the foot off the gas pedal, but it's because of you guys that I'm able to do anything like this and continue to build off of this. And there's, as Jay-Z once said, the dynasty continues, y'all die. It's going to keep growing and building and building and building and building. And I couldn't do it without all of you all. So I appreciate it. Thank you. And please check it out. Give me your feedback. Give me your thoughts. Give me your suggestions. Give me your coverage plans, whatever because you are the fans. You're the ones that this is for. In addition to obviously the broader fan base on Women's Fast Break on SI as well. So I'm figuring it out as I go, but also, it is a brand new endeavor and it launched today. So check it out. Link in the description for the brand spanking new Indiana Fever on SI. On top of that, remember the Hoopin Havoc contest is going on right now. So you guys can join that and make your picks for the next round of the NCAA tournament. It's a contest against me. I was in third place the first week. AJ was in second place. CC Fan, I think, was in first place for the first week of the contest. So make sure you get your entries in there. It is just a $10 entry fee, and this contest will run through the length of the NCAA tournament. The link to that is in the description as well. So I'll take any feedback on what I've talked about so far today. And I want to get to a couple other topics as well. And we've got some early feedback. Slowpat said the page looks good. Thank you. I appreciate that. No one man should provide all this content, but I'm doing my best. And shouts to Grant Young, who's helped me a ton in the process with Women's Fast Break on SI. We have Samara Elster as well. And I hope to beef up the staff, like I said, can increase the volume of content, but also the quality of the content, eventually getting the relationships with the actual team. Like I said, getting my ass out to Indianapolis, all those sorts of things. Salute, says Sahid. KDB says, we love our Fever fix. Congrats. That's awesome. And that's what I figured. Member chats, super chats are going to be read first, of course. Kevin says, it's been a hell of a journey so far. The site is a really easy read and insightful. Cool to be a small part in all of this. Shout out to ABG for the OVO collab. Okay. The last one is an inside joke. Brandon Sleep says you're going to get credentials this year. Yeah, I mean, that's the plan. I mean, that's up to them, but that's the plan. I need to get on it, one thing at a time. But I was credentialed for the WNBA finals last year and some of the Liberty games and the like, and the plan is to do that as well, whether it is as many games as I can get to and as much coverage as we can do as a site. So yes, to answer your question. Yeah, I hope that is a satisfactory answer to your question. Got a couple other chats I'm going to get to here before I get to the next topic. Ron Day said, could CC be a serious contender for MVP? I think absolutely. Yes. I think there's no doubt that CC is a serious contender for MVP this season. Uh-oh. The dog was in here. Somebody came to the door. This is that scary voice you might have just heard. Butters. Butters, what up? Now she's gone. Where am I at with this? Tony Aiken says, March 27th, the Indiana Fever with all the hype will not make the playoffs. There you go, Tony. Way to go. Way to go on a limb. I do not agree, but you're entitled to your opinion, and you're trolling. You're entitled. Hey, we got Kelsey, the bailout queen in here. What up, Kelsey? Katie says, if you're looking for a transition message, I'll be it. Can you please explain the SAS and LeBron beef to me as someone who has no clue what's going on genuinely? Yeah, let's get to that because that's more of a topic. Announcement out of the way. Indiana Fever on SI live as of today. Check it out. Continue to support. I appreciate it very much. Like and subscribe to the channel as well. Get your comments in. Enter the Hoopin Havoc contest. Plugs out of the way. Let me get into this topic right here. So, more or less, the LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith thing is this. So, Stephen A. obviously has been on television as a pundit, the biggest sports personality, probably of all time at this point. Certainly at the moment is, and he has made a name for himself with the way he delivers his opinions and, goes on TV every day. When you're LeBron James, people discuss you on TV every day. In fact, Stephen A.'s partner, Skip Bayless, former partner, was known for hating on LeBron basically his entire career. I know Stephen A. a little bit from my days as I was a producer on his radio show back in the day. In fact, the first day I met him, I got him a hot dog, sauerkraut, no ketchup and mustard, I believe. But Stephen was always cool to me, always, kind of low key behind the scenes, and then turns it up when the cameras are on, and no one can doubt his abilities. Max Kellerman's also a good friend of mine, so I don't like the way that situation went down or the way it was handled by Stephen A. after the fact, but that's the context, for any personal influence I could have, but nothing but respect for what Stephen A. has done over the course of his career, and he was nothing but cool to me. Though I did lose a job because of him once, I will say that. Not his fault, But when if you guys remember Ruco and Lundberg, we used to do the radio show together. We were on in middays. We got moved to middays because we did so well in the early mornings. And then when Stephen A had left ESPN for a while, when they brought him back, they needed to put him, like they had originally put him on at night, and they needed to put him on somewhere else. So we were the ones with the least leverage and the ones that could get blown out. So, they moved him into our slot. We were done after like 8 months. And that's when I was in a bit of a purgatory for a while. But nonetheless, Stephen A talks about LeBron all the time. There's never been an issue. It's never gone to a bad level until I think it was the specific Bronny James comment when Stephen A said that as a father, he was pleading to Bronny James or to LeBron James to end the whole Bronny James experiment. As a father, he was pleading to him. That, I think, is what led to the infamous confrontation, or I don't even know you want to say confrontation, but the one that was caught on camera at the game where LeBron went up to Stephen A and sort of checked him, right? And then Stephen A clearly spoke about that because it was a viral moment, and he did go on a bit of a press tour about it. And then Stephen A responded to what LeBron said on Pat McAfee's show yesterday. LeBron went on with Pat McAfee, and he said that essentially what I just said, that Stephen A had gone on a tour like Taylor Swift, and took a shot at him in that regard. Then Stephen A once again followed up off of that and said that if LeBron had touched him in that confrontation or whatever you want to call it, he would have swung on him, though he would have got his tail whooped or whatever. But that was a big thing, or he would have swung on LeBron James. Basically, it all got too messy for what should be, an analyst-player relationship. LeBron, for the first time, sort of commented on a lot of these things that have been bubbling under the surface for a while. And then he just usually would just not say anything about it. Now, I don't like what LeBron said about Brian Windhorst yesterday. To be honest with you, I thought that was whack. I didn't think that was necessary. It felt like an unnecessary shot. Yeah, like Brian Windhorst LeBron has certainly helped build Brian Windhorst's career. There's no question about it. But I never thought that Windhorst presented himself like LeBron's best friend or anything that, in regards to the way it was positioned there. Nonetheless, Stephen A took offense to LeBron's comments there, said his comments, and then LeBron had a game-winning tip-in last night and posted something on Instagram kind of mocking Stephen A. What was the Instagram post there? I'll pull it up for you so you could see if the damn page will load for me. Yeah. I don't want to log in. Come on. Stupid thing. Log in with Facebook. It should be able to. Let's see if this works. But LeBron posted on Instagram something about Stephen A, and that went, again, took off. And then Stephen A goes on First Take and was clearly upset about that. And he goes and says that LeBron did not go to Kobe Bryant's memorial. Now, Stephen A has just issued an apology. My apologies and clarification. I misspoke in hour 1 of First Take today when I intimated that LeBron did not attend Kobe Bryant's memorial. I corrected myself in hour 2 when I acknowledged he was indeed in attendance. My mistake. Should not have even broached that subject. It was not the main point. I retract nothing else that I said. Have a nice day. But that was the thing that he said that I thought was out of pocket. Whether it was true, whether LeBron was at Kobe Bryant's memorial or not, it felt like a low blow to even go there. Why would you go there? And it shows you that this has become kind of personal. And I think Stephen A crossed the line when he said that as a father, he was pleading to LeBron James to end the Bronny James deal, because Bronny James has now proven himself to be likely an NBA player, I think. So this is an ugly scenario. Um, I don't know if you can put the toothpaste back in the tube here. Stephen A just got what, $100 million from ESPN. And I mean, he is ESPN. Stephen A is the face of ESPN at this point. Obviously, LeBron James remains the face of the NBA. Again, I didn't like what LeBron had to say about Windhorse, but I do think Stephen A overstepped the bounds when he said the thing about Bronny, pleading as a father again. Not saying Bronny, he didn't think he was a player in the league or any comment on his game, but pleading as a father to LeBron to end that. That's what led to LeBron approaching Stephen A in the first place, because it is what crossed the line. And then I also think he crossed the line, whether, the retraction notwithstanding, when he said that LeBron wasn't at Kobe Bryant's memorial. Because even if that was true, what the hell you bring that up for? So this is one of the most explosive media / athlete stories I can ever remember. And that's kind of my assessment of the situation. Now, I don't know if it behooves LeBron to be taking shots at media personalities and continuing that. But you can also understand where, LeBron has been the subject of scrutiny and day-to-day criticism over and over again for I don't know how many years, going back a long, long time. And eventually, I guess everybody reaches their boiling point in a sense like that. So that's that story. And then the final thing I wanted to touch on real quick before I get to the comments section was did you guys watch the Marvel chair unveiling yesterday? As a you could see the Hulk and Wolverine behind me. That's actually Incredible Hulk 181. As somebody who had the original Infinity Gauntlet comic book, it was always amazing to me that they made that into a movie. Like I remember running to the mailbox to get something called Wizard Magazine, which was like a comic book magazine. And my mailbox was I lived in Southern Maryland in the sticks. My road was not paved. My mailbox was like a 5-minute walk. And I remember running to get that. And they had like a casting call section where they would cast superhero movies because it was like so unrealistic that there would be superhero movies. And they actually had Patrick Stewart as Professor X before Patrick Stewart was cast as Professor X in X-Men. Well, turns out that happened. And I think Blade was the first one. And then X-Men really took it to the next level. And when the MCU launched, I think some people don't understand that they did not have the rights to their main characters when they launched the MCU proper, because the X-Men were the most popular comic book franchise, along with Spider-Man, the most popular character. Spider-Man and Wolverine, the two most popular characters, period. And they launched that whole thing without their most popular characters because Spider-Man was owned by Sony, the movie rights, and the X-Men movie rights were owned by Fox. Marvel has since reacquired the X-Men, and they have a deal with Sony to use Spider-Man. But in the meantime, they built that whole universe around Iron Man and Captain America and the rest of what were B-level characters or B-plus level characters in the comic books. And I knew that they had the magic formula when Guardians of the Galaxy was a hit, because as a comic book fan myself, I barely knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were. But that, showed you that they couldn't be stopped. Now, after Infinity War and Endgame, the most ambitious thing that anyone has ever attempted to pull off, I will admit, the magic ain't been the same. But it goes to show you, though, all of the talk of them being done or finished is rubbish, because the interest level is still there. Even if some of the movies don't do as well as the others, there were like 8 million people watching some empty director's chairs yesterday. So I thought that was a pop culture moment worth sharing. Now we can get to whatever you guys have to say. Member chats, super chats, go first. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Get your comments in. Join the Hoopin Havoc contest hosted by me. That link is in the description. It's only $10 to enter. We'll keep the leaderboard updated as we go. I see some more people entered as the show was going on, so thank you for that. And check out the brand new Indiana Fever on SI, covering the Indiana Fever, your source for daily Indiana Fever news, on top of Women's Fast Break on SI, which covers all women's basketball. Continue to grow the empire here. And to see where I was a year ago to where I am now in that regard is something else. Kevin says X2, top 5 comic book movie ever. Long live Wolverine. X2 was amazing. I like Days of Future Past quite a bit. I thought that was a really good one. And the X-Men were always my favorite characters. So I think for Marvel, to be honest, to get to that next level or get back to the level it once was, it's going to happen through the X-Men and through their use of the X-Men. Let me get back to the chat here. Where are we at? Twofold just said hi. Chicago Cheetah Fever is going to win the championship in the WNBA. It could. Where are we at? Basil and Joseph were saying hello to each other, but I don't need. Basil, what was my imagination today? Sometimes I live in the land of make-believe. What was I in the land of make-believe about so I can address that? What's up, FM Picks? You know I'm right, says let's go Mets and let's go Cena. Let's go Cena. Cena sucks. What's up, Mike Wiseman? My guy Ernesto. Oh, that's why it's Mets opening day. Oh, is it opening day for baseball, like real? Or is it spring training? Baseball started already? Holy shit. Wow. Lindy Smallwood says hello to Kelsey Queen. What up, Cindy? Jamel says I'll become a fan of whichever franchise selects Lucy Olson. Bye-bye Fever. Okay. What do you... The Fever versus the Sky is the first game, says Sahid. I am aware of this. Trust me. I can't believe it's actually... The off season is so long. It is so long that it's, like hard to believe that it's actually coming back around. It's exciting, right? Definitely exciting. KDB says it's insane my ability to remember all these orders. I don't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. Well, I mean, I was a waiter for a period of time, but actually more importantly, when I started around the horn as an intern, by getting the Chipotle orders right, I think I proved my value and maybe my intelligence level. I don't know. But when I was a waiter too, I used to have this challenge where I would see how big a table I could remember the orders for without writing them down. Crank that 22 says it's Kendrick versus Drake beef for the sports world. So who's Kendrick and who's Drake in the scenario of LeBron and SAS? Because that was not a close battle. Tay Boogie says, outside of the Kobe remarks, I felt both LeBron and SAS had valid reactions, but it has gone too far. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't like to, it's messy. I'm sure people are having a fun cover. I'm in a sense capitalizing on it, I guess. But yeah, I don't love it. I don't love it. that was just not good for anybody, I don't think. See, it says off season moving slower than molasses in January. Yeah, I mean, I never seen no off season that long before. I mean, I guess it's the NFL is. I guess it just feels like I don't know. Maybe because the NFL gets so much coverage all the time. It is something else. But we're rounding the corner, right? Like we're rounding second base. I guess you would say. Tay Boogie says Fever Sky will be the 3-6 or 4-5 matchup in the playoffs. Just watch. I think the Sky are going to be better than people think. They got a real guard in Courtney Vandersloot. They added Ariel Atkins, who will help them in a spot of need, of course. So I do think they will be improved for sure. But I don't think they're the Fever. I don't think they're the Fever. I've almost gone 24 hours without eating. I keep wondering because I need to lose like weight. So the best way for me to lose weight is just to not eat for a while. And I just realized that's where I'm at. Like I feel like one, I've been going 100 miles an hour, but two, like I feel a little lightheaded. I was like, why do I feel lightheaded? What's going on? Oh yeah, I didn't eat. I haven't eaten since this time yesterday. It's time to feast after we're done here. Time to feast after we're done here. Pat McAfee, by the way, he gets some kudos for and there's a little bit of some behind the scenes with ESPN there, if you think about it, because other than Stephen A, I would say Pat McAfee is the biggest presence or brand on ESPN at the moment. Jacques Cousteau says, I'm just tuning in. Some clown Troy just wrote the Fever won't make the playoffs. Yeah, I think he's looking for this exact reaction, Jacques. I think he's looking for this exact reaction. Get your likes and subscribes in, please. Again, I'll do the plugs at least one more time. Indiana Fever on SI, brand new site, launched today. And I have the Hoop and Havoc contest also going on right at this moment. Join my contest. Just $10 to enter. Let's get as many people in there as possible. It resets so everybody who was in the top 10 should at least get their money back from the last one. And then the people at the top of the leaderboard will get more, obviously. I think it's 200 for first, 100 for second, and 50 for third. Any more chats you guys want to get in? Ernesto is correct. Blade was that first Marvel movie. In a sense. It wasn't Marvel, though. It was a Marvel character, but not a Marvel movie. Same with X-Men. They were Fox movies. Kelsey, the bailout queen. Bronny's going to be fine. He just wasn't an overnight pop. He has no choice but to become. Yeah, I feel like Bronny's doing pretty well. Bronny's doing pretty well. And is proving himself. He's, again, who can name the first pick in the draft? The 55th pick in the draft is getting all this discussion. Pharaoh X says, what are your thoughts on the portal? Well, Tanaya Latson entered the transfer portal, leading scorer in the country. Who else entered the transfer portal? Kiyomi McMiller, electric ball handler from Rutgers, and Cody McMahon. They're the biggest names. I'm not a huge fan of it. But I also am not like going to rant and rave. It just seems like a bit of a strange ordeal overall. But yeah, I'm not going to lose my mind over it. I'm going to assume you meant to say he should have been undrafted, Basil, the 55th pick, not because he's amazing. Why do we say he should have been undrafted? Like, this is, people will, like, why? Does Bronny look like a player now who should have been undrafted? Because, the NBA doesn't work that way. It's not like what you do in college is what leads to where you go in the pros. Like, that's just not the way the draft pipeline works, especially nowadays, where people don't even play at college or they're there for a cup of coffee. And remember, Bronny had a heart attack last year. So I don't think Bronny should have gone undrafted based on what we've seen. He scored 39 in the G League the other night. He scored 17 in an NBA game the other night. He's averaging well over 20 points per game in the G League. He looks like he can carve out a role in the NBA in the rotation. So I think the idea that he should have been undrafted needs to go away, because I don't see the returns don't say that. Did he get help because of his dad? Sure. Of course. Maybe that guaranteed deal, right? But I don't think it's fair to say Bronny is in the NBA because of his dad. I think Bronny is proving that he belongs in the NBA, or at least that he deserves a shot in the NBA. Slow Pat says first pick in last year's draft. Well, Caitlin, of course. Oh, you meant the NBA. No clue. Yeah, I mean, well, look at Paige Becker's more famous than anybody coming in this year too, right? Other than maybe Cooper Flagg. But I don't even know if Cooper Flagg's more famous than Paige Becker's right now. Saheed says women's college basketball portal is on the same level as the NBA offseason right now. Well, no one says that Bronny's going to be a star. That's the other thing. I didn't say he's going to be a star. There have been players that went and, like, Cam Thomas lit up the G League, no? And then, or at least the Summer League, and then wound up lighting up the NBA for spurts of time. He's not like but yeah, he had huge numbers in the G League. So I'm not saying Bronny James is going to be an MVP, but generally, if you're able to stand out at that level in the G League, you're going to get a crack in the big league. AJ, which teams make the Final Four? My picks are UConn, South Carolina, LSU, and Notre Dame. I think those are the four most talented teams, and thus are my picks to make the Final Four. But yeah, I think those are the four most talented teams. LBW says Paige Becker's will be a flop. I don't know about a flop. We'll see. Paige can play. I don't think she'll be a flop. Tay Boogie asks if I'll do predictions before the season. Yeah, I'll do plenty of predictions. I got lots of, stuff on the way. I got to do it working every day. Trying to get bigger and better every day. And you guys have helped me along. Yeah, a page is not huge, Joseph. That's fair. But this is, I think, what Katie says. Well, actually, let me get to this super chat, then I'll get to what Katie says. Crank that 22. What's making the Fever so favorable with free agents and fans? is having a strong affiliation with Pacers and supporting each other, which helps views. Well, I think, I think with the Fever, there are several things. Yes, the organization is proving itself to be class. So that helps. They got the new practice facility, all that. I think you also get a chance to play with Caitlin Clark, which just ups your profile. We look at the All-Star votes from last year. That ups your profile as a basketball player, also ups your earnings potential, because then you have the chance to make money off the court as well. And then you have a chance to compete for the championship. So you become more famous as a player, you win as a player, you're supported as a player. All good things. AJ says, Robin, thoughts on Red Bull sacking Liam Lawson and promoting Yuki Tsunoda ahead of the Japanese GP next week? Bold move for your team. Max is not happy. Max should be pissed. I'd be pissed if I were him too. I mean, what a Red Bull gave him wings to get out of here, huh? It was a surprise, AJ. I'll say that. It was a surprise. Now let me get to Katie's comment that I teased before. Paige will not be a flop. She just won't be Caitlin, but she will be great. And I think that's there in part lies the problem, is so often everyone is compared to Caitlin Clark, and therefore what they do or they don't do is viewed as a success or a failure through the prism of how it compares to Caitlin Clark, because Caitlin Clark is the one that gets engagement, the one that moves the needle, the one that changes the dynamics for everybody. And yes, if we're holding Paige Beckers to a Caitlin Clark standard, I think she will come up short. But if we are holding Paige Beckers to a good player standard, I think she will do well. Kevin Zwicker says Robin's F1 talk is hilarious. I got AJ sent me some books. I got them here. Red Bull Racing and Surviving to Drive. I got the books. Thank you, AJ. I got to do my LeBron though. Hold on, let me read this book real fast. All right, read it. Close Quarters asked, are the Liberty going to be able to keep all their core players from last year? Someone mentioned they have cap issues. Yeah, they've got everybody they added. They brought in Natasha Cloud and they brought in Johannes. So the Liberty they look good. They got a brand new practice facility too, coming $80 million. The size are spending on the Liberty. So they're in a good spot. They are in a good spot. All right, guys. I only got a couple more minutes. So I got to roll and get to some other stuff. So any other chats? LBW says, well, WNBA curb the rough play, no calls. I worry about CC. I like the physicality. The WNBA cheap shots are one thing. That's not my concern with Caitlin Clark. She's tough. She's strong. I think the risk of injury is the ones that you don't want to see are the non-contact ones, to be honest. Obviously, we just saw with Juju, which just sucks. Those are the ones that scare you the most. To me, I think Caitlin can handle herself, and Caitlin's teammates can handle business now. And yeah, as Twofold says, it becomes a bit silly comparing all these players to CC. Saheed says, I think Paige will be good in the W. See her playing more of a true point guard role, especially since she's playing with Enrique. Tank Mo 4 says, who is Lucy Olson? Lucy Olson's a transfer from Villanova who went to Iowa, had a good season, could have played her way into the draft. Pete P says, the only one who would defend CC on and off the court is Sophie. Based on what? Like, why won't Dewana or Howard defend her on the court? I don't understand. I like Sophie too. I mean, I'm not saying Sophie don't rock, but I don't think she's the only one. Katie says, "Did you see the crazy headline about Fran McCaffrey that involves CC this week? What was that about?" That was the Daily Mail. That's what that was about. Like I write a lot of headlines. And I write a lot of them. And the trick is, for me, I you want people to click it, right? Like you want people to click it. There's no question. You want it to be engaging, compelling. But the two rules that I live by are never take anybody out of context and don't over sensationalize, right? And I have these anal nitpicky fights all the time about things that I wouldn't like. I don't even like when referring to somebody as like Angel Reese's former teammate joins the Fever. In the case of Brianna Turner, who was there for 1 year, I don't like doing that just to get Angel Reese's name in that. Like personally, it's pet peeve, but it's not as bad as some of the other stuff that you see out there. And you want to walk up to the, like go as far as you can without going too far. And the Daily Mail just doesn't have any standards. It's a rag and a tabloid, like some of these other, some of the headlines you see out there are like, it makes me think I could just put whatever I wanted into the universe. I just have too many ethics and the like. But yeah, the headline was something like Caitlin Clark's potential father-in-law joins Donald Trump's alma mater. So, yeah, I mean, it's just like with these tweets and posts that are out there. Like you see one random one that you don't like. There's no need to like overreact. All right, y'all. Think that will do it for me here today. Please get your likes, get your subscribes, get your comments in. Check out the new Indiana Fever on SI site. Enter the contest below. AJ says, am I still the contest hosted by Sparkit? Am I still an insider at Sportskeeda? They like to write up what I say on this channel, so I can't be too mad at them. I'd be saying stuff and they'd be like, WNBA analyst or NCAA analyst. One time they even used my name in the headline, I think they did use my name in the headline. Hopefully, cheers to my name being in further headlines. I will be writing more headlines because of you guys. And for that, I am eternally thankful. So until the next one, eat.